So blurbs are there. Another thing they need to do about your character is capture their voice. So it's not just you describing to the reader about what that character is like. You will use language in your blurb that your character would use. And this conveys the sense of the voice. So you're not writing as a narrator now, you're writing as the character. It's still, even though it's using the character's voice, blurbs are using third person, even if your book is in first person. When I say usually, because all rules can be broken, someone might come up with a really clever way to put in first person, I'm sure they have. But usually, most of them are in third person. So if you're not sure, maybe stick with that, but play with it, you try the other. It's always in present tense. Even if this is a historical novel, you're writing the blurb, even if the book is in past tense, you're writing the blurb in present tense. So the blurb is getting the feeling that it's happening now, even though the book will be in maybe past tense. So have a look at another one. Now, usually I have a rule that if I have words on a PowerPoint, I won't read them because I think that's kind of, well, why put them there if I read them? I'm just concerned that because I had to get a blurb in that you won't be able to see it up the back, so I thought it's easier. If it annoys you, please let me know. I know I don't have the most soothing voice, but I will let you read it yourself if it annoys you. So a lot of people have read this story because it's an Australian romance. Don Tillman is getting married. He just doesn't know who to yet. But he has designed the Wife Project using a 16-page questionnaire to help him find the perfect partner. She will most definitely not be a barmaid, a smoker, a drinker, or a late arriver. Rosie Jarman is all these things. Oh gee, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
She is also fiery and intelligent and beautiful. And on a quest of her own to find her biological father, a search that Don, a professor of genetics, might just be able to help her with. The Wife Project teaches Don some unexpected things. Why earlobe length is an inadequate predictor of sexual attraction. Why quick dry clothes aren't appropriate attire in New York. Why he's never been on a second date. And why despite your best scientific efforts, you don't find love, love finds you. So, romantic comedy there. We can tell it's comedy because there's a few little funny lines in there already. Let's check that it has all the details. Does it have character? Don Tillman, professor of genetics. Again, if anyone here works in science, you probably get a good feel for this character already. He's never been on a second date. So if this didn't already tell you, if you're not in the inside circle in science, you'll get it now. And anyone who is in that inside circle gets that joke because I remember back on Friends there was a joke where Rachel said to her friend Phoebe, "Is this the dress a paleontologist's girlfriend would wear to a function?" And Phoebe said, "I don't know, you might be the first." So you get that thing. There's always jokes about people who are in science maybe not being the best at people relationships. So we get the idea of Don. Setting. They've simplified it. New York. The setting is New York. And I think this is important to bring up. A lot of people have their stories move around and they think they need to mention every event that happens on the blurb, every location. You don't. Where's the key place it's held? Half this book is in Melbourne, set in Melbourne. They don't even mention that. It's set in New York because all the really exciting stuff happens in New York. So they're just telling you the place where it will, because that will appeal to some people, especially in the romance industry, the glamour of New York. So you do not need to include everything. You just need to give the reader a sense of it. That's all you're trying to do. Let them find out that there's also, it's also half of the book is set in Wagga Wagga or something, Let them find out. The conflict. He's decided that he should get married, but he doesn't know who he should marry, so he does it logistically because that's how he works. He works out how he might do that, and there's some very funny scenes. I do recommend if you like a laugh. Now, activity, because again, this is about you. So we're going to draft a line for the context, that's the setting. So you should be on this page with 3 little squares. shape to make it easy to find. 3 little squares. The first one is your setting. So I want you to think about your setting. You've done some vocab exercises. If you feel like you would like to do that, you have some pages back a bit that you can scribble on if you want to write out some words first. The setting should be important to your story. It doesn't have to be overly important to the blurb, but the context is important. So the context is more the events that are going on. So if you were writing a story set in 1939, it would be important to mention that in the blurb, because the year will be important, because maybe it has something to do with the fact that someone might be heading off to war or something like that. If you are doing it during a historical time, that if it's a futuristic story, you better make sure that's clear in the book. It will confuse your reader. Readers just hate when they're reading a story and they're really confused about where they are and what's happening. It's this horrible, disjointed feeling. So make sure in the blurb it's clear that this is a futuristic story. You know, 200 years in the future, people will no longer need cars or whatever. Something like that will tell the person. So just try and come up with a line that introduces the setting and the context.